Hello, welcome back to Playing It Safe. This is episode 2, the very windy edition. We're calling it that because we're featuring the talent of 3 of our wonderful wind principals, Rita Linard, Jennifer Berg, and Jonathan Castillo. And even though she's not a wind player, we haven't had a chance to feature our wonderful cellist, Liz Lee, so we're also going to do that today. She'll have a solo for us later in the program. Before we get started, I want to ask you to do something. I want you to really listen closely to the first movement of the first piece on the program. And then when the second piece on the program comes, I want you to listen for the similarities. This is why I programmed the second piece. Plus, I think the second piece kind of captures the mood of our culture right now better than it ever did. So go ahead and try and do a callback in your mind to the first movement of our first work when you hear our second work. And now, we've got a lot of music to get to, so I'm going to go ahead and have Jonathan introduce the first piece.
Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan Castillo, and I have been the principal bassoonist of the Mid-Texas Symphony since 2014. The piece you're about to hear is composed by Antonio Vivaldi, who was a composer and priest of the Baroque era, having lived from 1678 until 1741. Vivaldi wrote an incredible amount of music in his lifetime, including over 500 concertos, of which 37 of those concertos are for the bassoon. The only other instrument he wrote more concertos for was the violin, for which he wrote about 230. His concertos for bassoon are an integral source of music for the instrument and have really helped move the instrument out from its typical role as a supporting instrument into the role of a solo instrument. That Vivaldi composed such a large number of concertos for the bassoon is a little bit surprising, since by 1650 the instrument had entered into a pretty long decline. Moreover, the instrument had never really been used in Venice as a solo instrument. There was a new bassoon being developed in Paris, however, between the years 1660 and 1670, and then by about 1680 the bassoon had gained much more popularity across Europe. But still, for some reason, this newer bassoon did not yet appear in Venice until much later. It is difficult to assign a precise date to the works, but it is generally assumed that the majority of his bassoon concerti were written between 1728 and 1737. His writing displays a profound understanding of the technical capacity of the instrument, as well as its expressive potential, which Vivaldi exploits in both the bass and the tenor registers. In all of his concertos, Vivaldi does not hesitate to assign to the bassoon compositional idioms that were more normally reserved for string instruments, such as rapid arpeggios, rapid scales, and huge registral leaps. I want to thank you so much for your continued support of this fabulous orchestra. Here is Antonio Vivaldi's Concerto for Bassoon and Strings in D minor.
The next work on our program is the String Quartet No. 2, subtitled Company, by Philip Glass. The score was originally intended to be the incidental music to a dramatization of a novella by the same name by Samuel Beckett. In the novella, an older man lies in a dimly lit room and he thinks about the past and he wonders about the future and he waits and he waits and he waits. I think sometimes there's a lot of waiting in Beckett. Anyway, there's more waiting, and then occasionally he's visited by the sound of a disembodied voice. This music also captures the mood of the current day. The quiet, the sameness, the repetition, the way in which we order something online and then wait for the post office to deliver it, and we wait, and we wait. And then there's more waiting, just like in Beckett. It also reminds me of the way computers crunch numbers, zeros and ones, ones and zeros, endlessly. And then there's the way we spend our time trying to reread that same page we've read so many times because we can't concentrate because of the pandemic, wondering what's on Netflix, thinking about...
Oh man, you musician types are such procrastinators. Hey lazy bones, I got a great idea. Instead of laying there on your butt thinking about what's on Netflix, why don't you try something different like, going upstairs and practicing? I mean, it's not like you don't have a video to finish.
All right, already. Stop nagging. I'll go practice.
Ernest Bloch lived from 1880 to 1959. He composed many well-known instrumental and orchestral works. After winning the Coolidge Award for his viola suite, he quickly established himself as a Jewish composer. Prayer is taken from a group of pieces which form From Jewish Life, which was composed in 1924. Bloch wrote that it wasn't his intent to capture authentic Jewish music and melodies, but rather to capture the ardent and complex Jewish spirit and soul. I hope that this performance of prayer can help your prayers for a brighter future during these tough times. Please enjoy Prayer by Ernest Bloch.
born in 1735 when his famous father was already 50. Johann Christian Bach was the 18th child of J.S. Bach and the youngest of his 11 sons. This age difference between father and son easily explains the remarkable difference in their mature musical styles. J.S. was J.C.'s first music teacher, instructing him until his death in 1750. Following his father's death, J.C. spent time in the employ of his older brother, C.P.E. Bach, and then a period of study followed in Italy with Padre Martini. Then it was off to the capital of England, where he became known as the London Bach and served as the music master to Queen Charlotte. It was in London that J.C. encountered the young 8-year-old Mozart. He is credited with being one of Mozart's principal influences, having taught him composition for 5 months, and some scholars have even gone so far as to say that he was Mozart's only true music teacher. The Quintet for Winds and Strings that we're about to perform for you is filled with the age of Enlightenment positivity. It's in 3 movements and treats the flute and oboe more like soloists in a concerto than you would normally find in chamber music literature. Very fitting for a showcase of the woodwind section. Please enjoy the Quintet in D major, Opus 11, number 6, by the London Bach.
A few weeks ago, an item came up in my news feed, and it was a story about a young man, Christoph Konch, who is the principal second violin of the Vienna Philharmonic, making a recording of the complete Mozart violin concertos. Now, what is special about that in itself? Not very much, probably. But the main part of the article was that he'd been given exclusive rights to perform on Mozart's own violin. The violin had been in the Mozarteum in Salzburg in the museum under glass and protected, but no one had been playing it for a very, very long time, and he had been invited a couple of years ago to come in and see what it sounded like. And upon playing it, he was entranced by the beautiful qualities that the instrument still had, and asked permission to play on it regularly so that he could record the complete violin concertos. It was probably this violin that Mozart played on at the time when he composed them. So, having read this and listened to Christoph's beautiful recording, I couldn't get Mozart out of my mind, and I just really felt like I needed to play some. So this piece originally was not included on this program, but I had to get it out of my system, so I hope you'll indulge me. This is one of my favorite works by Mozart for violin. It is the Adagio, Koschel 261. I hope you enjoy it.
The German-Dutch composer Julius Roentgen was born in 1855 and died in 1932. His musical talents were recognized at an early age by none other than Franz Liszt and Johannes Brahms. He would even later go on to perform Brahms' second piano concerto with Brahms himself on the podium. Not bad. Besides being a fine composer and teacher, Roentgen was also a gifted pianist, and in the latter part of his career, he was the recital accompanist for such great artists as the violinist and pedagogue Karl Fleisch and the legendary cellist Pablo Casals. Among his many accomplishments, Roentgen was credited with founding the Amsterdam Conservatory and playing a critical role in the founding of the Concertgebouw Orchestra, one of the world's greatest orchestras. After retiring from public life in 1927, Roentgen was extremely prolific, composing over 100 compositions before he passed away. And though he composed across most genres, his chamber music output was his strongest contribution. His Wind Trio, Opus 86, is written in the neoclassical style, and the first movement we are about to play for you has been described as Haydnesque. Please enjoy the Allegretto con spirito from Roentgen's Wind Trio in G major.
Well, that's all for this very windy program. I hope you enjoyed the music that we brought to you today. I think we may have introduced you to the work of some composers that are not entirely familiar to you. Julius Roentgen, of course, being one of them. And I hope that maybe if you enjoyed this music, you'll go out and explore some of their works and maybe find some of their pieces that you like as much as I do. So, for our next visit, we'll be coming to you for Thanksgiving. That's right, we're coming into your homes for Thanksgiving, but not to your tables. We're going to have a very special Thanksgiving video for you. And if you're at all worried about crazy Uncle Billy at the Thanksgiving table who starts going off on how the lizard people are taking over the world, just put the video on. It's filled with a lot of soothing music that will calm everyone's frayed nerves, although I will tell you it does end with a real toe tapper. Now, before we go, I haven't done a recommendation in a really long time, and I'd like to do one right now if that's okay. I read some disturbing articles recently. There's been something in the news that really concerns me. They are saying that independent booksellers across the country are going out of business, one per day on average. And that's, of course, because of the pandemic. And the big concern is that they're not going to come back if they go out of business. So unless you want your only option for choosing reading material to be books that you can get from that rich guy on the internet, whose name we won't mention, please consider going out and supporting your local bookseller. You'll do wonders for the local economy, and you'll help a local bookseller, an independent bookseller, stay in business. Okay, that's all for today. So, we'll see you soon. Play it safe, be smart, and stay well. Bye-bye.